if you're going to sit on the fence, you might as well just say property is not for me, leave property and do something else. So the big question is this: how are investors like us who weren't born with a silver spoon successfully investing in property to create a passive income and still have a lifestyle now? That is the question. This podcast will give you the answers. I'm George Markowski and welcome to the Positive Property Show. Our mission is to empower 10,000 people to create financial freedom through property using the Markowski method. Join us. George Markowski and Belinda Flaherty coming to you live. And I just want to have a big welcome to Belinda because Belinda's just come. Thank you. Belinda's come down from Melbourne. We call it, used to be called the Garden State. Now it's called the Lockdown State.
So I escaped.
That's right. So there we go. You escaped the Lockdown State, and here you are. If you're there, if you're watching us live, we're actually at the moment in Positive Property Club on Facebook. Come and join us there so you can interact, because I'm going to be helping you and talking to you about stuff. But what I'm going to talk about today, just give you a quick summary, is why ordinary Australians are going to be compelled to invest in property or watch their savings dwindle. Now, so if you're an ordinary Australian, if you're living in Australia, you really need to listen to this episode because it's pretty important, right? Because seriously, there's a lot of inflation going on at the moment. A lot of people don't understand how inflation works. So I'm going to explain that. What I'm going to do also is the $1 million median house price. When is Australia going to hit that record? I'm going to tell you my predictions and other people's predictions.
Perfect.
Soon,
That's
right?
what we want to hear. You've always done great predictions, George. So
Look. A lot of people. I've made some big claims, massive claims, and I back them up with stats.
Absolutely.
And you know what? The thing is, I've been right over and over again. I'm not always right, but when I am, I like to tell people about it.
Why not?
Exactly. So
Absolutely.
If you can hear us, please type in the chat and say hi, hello, good to see you. And we're going to start. And, I'm probably going to predict that out of the last decade, 2021 is going to be the best year over the last 10 years when it comes to investing in property.
I have to agree with you there for sure.
Yeah, see, housing markets are gathering pace. But the funny thing is, 4 out of the 8 capitals are still recording dwelling values that are actually lower than previous peaks. A lot of people don't realise that, right? So Melbourne homes are still below what they were, right, back in March 2020.
Yeah.
Sydney needs to go up another 4% to go what it was back in 2017.
Yep.
Right? And Perth and Darwin, they're down. Perth's down 20%. Darwin's down 25% of their peaks. Right? So good to see you. Hi, how are you? So look, it's fascinating about these stats, and that's what I want to go through and talk to people about this because it's important. But what's happening? Well, I'll tell you what's happening. Australian housing prices are tipped to bounce back in 2021. I'm going to go through some of the reasons of what's happening now. It's a new year. There's a lot of new things happening. It's pretty exciting.
We've also come out of COVID as well.
Well, we're coming
People
in, we're going out, we're going in, going out.
It's like the hokey pokey.
Yeah. But also, what I'm going to talk about today is why experts buzzing with excitement over Brisbane.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why are they so excited? What's going on? Because compared to Sydney and Melbourne, right, Brisbane's market struggled to gain momentum, right? And it just started going in 2020. And then guess what happened? It tripped over COVID and it stopped it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But good things on the horizon because now they've come back in the game bigger and better than ever have.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And basically, we're seeing some massive price growth already in some of the pockets around the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the last few months alone, I've seen so much momentum there already. It's been crazy because a lot of our members are investing in Brisbane at the moment. And if you don't know what we've got a membership program called the Black Belt Investor, and it's like,
well, it's karate. So it's like every time you get a new property, you get a different color belt, which is a bit of fun, but it's also nice to get a little bit, rewarded from the whole experience, from all the efforts, because investing is not easy. So it's almost like getting your little trophy at the end of it.
Exactly. And I think, it's always good to be rewarded. And like we did quite a long fast. We got rewarded with some food. Belinda's actually fasting at the moment as we speak.
Yeah, sure am.
Our weekend, I've had some dinner tonight, and which is the way it is. So there you go. But yes. So, but tomorrow night we're all going to a little Vietnamese restaurant.
Catching up with the Adelaide staff. It's going to be.
We're catching
I'm
up with
excited.
the Adelaide crew because half our crew are in Melbourne, half are in Adelaide.
Yeah.
And then we've got a few people overseas on our part of our team. We've got about 14 members of our team around the place, and it's going to be good to catch up with Adelaide people, definitely.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So the thing is, with COVID and the lack of immigration, what's happened is that's hit rentals pretty hard.
Yeah.
Right. And rental has gone down in a lot of places, especially, and I'm going to be talking about units. I've been banging on about units for a long time.
I know you always talk about units.
And it's important because so many people were getting sucked into buying units, and just don't do it unless you know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
It's okay if you know what you're doing. I can hear a cat in the background. Do you hear that meow?
Yeah, I heard the cat.
Yeah. I live on the beachfront, and we've had a plane come past over the last week because there was
shark patrol.
It's been sharks.
I had to sit looking at a beautiful beach, not able to swim in it for 2 days.
Well, the other day we went for a swim, and we're in the water.
We're in the water. We went up to about here,
and the plane comes in and starts going nee 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 nee, whatever it does. Yeah.
It could have been shark bait.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the thing. Because housing prices expect to reach up to 15% in many parts of Australia over the next 4 months, they reckon, and this is what they're suggesting, is annual rent's going to go up by $2,000 to $5,000 per year.
Wow.
Yes.
That's pretty.
I know. Those predictions are pretty, right?
That's pretty amazing.
Well, this is the reality, right? Australia does just not have enough housing supply.
Yeah.
We've got 25.6 million people, right? And most of Australia had an undersupply of housing prior to COVID, right? Well, this has managed to cause quite a bit of inconvenience for the Australian lifestyle. It's got no ability to dump that extra dwellings for people, right?
Yeah.
So what they're saying is Australia is massively undersupplied, right?
Well, we were actually talking about this a couple of years ago as well.
Yes, we were.
You know, I mean, it hasn't changed.
Well, funny enough, there is a surplus in certain areas. This is the weird part.
Yeah.
You know where the surplus is? Melbourne and Sydney. No. Melbourne and Sydney, CBD.
Wow.
Because a lot of people don't want to live in units.
Yeah, look, we're Australians.
Now with COVID, it's a bit different as well.
Yeah, I know.
Right? But what's happening is Melbourne and Sydney CBD, their rents are declining.
Yeah.
Right? But the other rents are going up. It's interesting how some places are going to go up and other places are going to go down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got winners and losers, and that's the whole point. You know what I mean? Like, if, for example, if you realize cryptocurrency has been going nuts, Bitcoin's gone up, and Bitcoin went crazy last week. And I'm not big on Bitcoin or stocks or anything else like that.
Actually, yeah. You told me to put some money towards it, and I just put it towards property.
And let me explain my theory on that, right? Basically, I invest in property because property, bricks and mortar, if you invest in the bread and butter, that's where you make your money. 90% of millionaires made their money out of property. Yeah. Right. However, and you've never heard the thing safe as Bitcoin or safe as shares. But it's safe as houses. Right. Yep. However, I was saying to people, put 0.5% or 1% of your money into Bitcoin. Yep. It's like gambling, and it may go up, may go down. Yep. And it went up quite a bit. It went up heaps. But there was a possibility of it going down as well. So what I've done now is I've gone up about 150%. Yeah. So what I've done now is I've taken 50% of my Bitcoin and sold it. Yeah. So all the money I put in, I've got back. So now whatever happens to Bitcoin, doesn't matter. If it keeps going up, great. If it goes down,
you're already winning.
It doesn't matter. And and what we've got to do is when you're investing in anything, you've got to look at your exit strategy. You have to look at how you're going to do what you're going to do, right? But the predictions are that by 2023, Australia will crack the $1 million median house price.
Wow.
It's only 2.5, 3 years ago.
It's not far.
Yeah.
And if anyone knows that even through COVID, even through lockdown, it was possibly, for me, it just went so quick. It went so fast. I would have thought that being in lockdown, you would have been, ticking the clock, but it actually just went so quick.
Yep.
I mean, we were almost 7 months into lockdown in Melbourne,
Exactly. And the funny thing is, I mean, one thing that's recovered well now is a lot of the rural areas when it comes to businesses. We were in the Barossa recently, Barossa Valley.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every restaurant was packed out.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had to book in advance quite a bit for any good restaurant.
Yep, and wine tastings and all those things.
Even wine tastings.
You used to be able to just rock up and, they'd say, yep, you'll be sitting in 5 minutes. Now it's like big list.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the national survey's in, and basically what they're saying is 1 in 5 investors are looking at adding to their portfolio in the next 12 months. Right, they've just been waiting for the economic things to happen. You know what I mean?
Well, I suppose it's been a bit kind of crazy with COVID.
Yeah, the thing is, if you wait too long,
that's the thing.
The Australian property market is likely to grow quickly during the recovery. That's the point.
That's right.
If you look back at 2009, right? That was just after 2008 global financial crisis.
Yep.
Unemployment went up to 6%, but housing price increased 19% for Sydney and 24% for Melbourne between 2010 and 2012. Just in 2 years.
Yeah, wow.
Right?
Amazing stats.
And now we've got the record low interest rates. And the thing is, what happens is Sydney and Melbourne normally go ahead.
Absolutely.
And then Brisbane follows. However, what happened was Brisbane was about to follow, and then COVID tripped up Brisbane, fell over. And now Brisbane sort of got up, dusted itself off, and said, okay, I'm ready to go now. And it's about to run. That's what's been happening. So look, part of the George Markowski property show is if you've got any questions, please go ahead because now's the time.
This is your chance, guys,
Because,
absolutely.
We're open for questions now. We're going to be talking about question time and see if anyone's interested in talking to us.
Absolutely. Get your questions out there, guys.
That's right. I'm going to just go onto our Facebook page and see who's on. If you're on, say hello.
Say hello. Come and have a chat. Ask some questions. This is your opportunity, guys. I mean, if you want to be an expert at something, you need to follow people that say what they do, and
do what they say.
Do what they say.
Even that. Someone that walks their walk.
Walk the walk.
And talk the talk.
Talk the talk.
That's right. Exactly.
So this is your opportunity to get, some information.
Now, how's this stuff with Trump? Right? So look, this is very interesting. I mean, what happened recently in America is unprecedented, where they stormed the Capitol and got in to do.
It's all crazy over there.
Look, it's pretty crazy, and what's crazy is how the two sides are so against each other.
Yeah,
you got the Republicans and Democrats, the Trump supporters, and all that sort of thing, and Arnold Schwarzenegger recently did a video. Interesting video that he did.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he did a good job with that video.
I think he did a good job.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, but he was attacking Trump a little bit, and I think the important thing is that we live in a democracy, and we want to promote democracies and have democracy work as democracy, and both sides are pro-democracy.
Yeah.
Right. So one side is saying the elections are fake. And that's not a real democracy. The other side is saying the elections are real and you trying to storm the Capitol is fake, right? But if you look at the big picture up what we're looking at, they're both fighting for the same thing, but from a different angle.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the problem with a lot of things, like with COVID as well, with vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, Trump supporters and liberals and Democrats. So the thing is, how do we reconcile that? And how do we fix that? That's the question. Because, just because someone's got a different opinion than you doesn't mean they're bad people.
No.
Right?
Everyone's got a right to an opinion.
Yep, but opinions are a bit like assholes. Everyone's got one.
I wasn't going to say that.
But I was going to say it. Definitely.
You were going to say it. I just prompted you.
Yeah, so look, how has COVID changed for the property market? Oh, okay. So how has COVID changed the property market? Good question.
Great question.
Well, basically, what's happened is COVID has reduced supply. Now, we talk about the supply and demand ratio. The more supply, that means that prices go down.
Yes.
Less supply, prices go up.
Go up.
A bit like the iPhone. People line up to get the iPhone. You don't get a discount when you buy an Apple iPhone.
No.
You just don't. When you buy a brand new Apple product, you're paying full price. You go to the store, Harvey Norman, and you see, HP, 20% off. Samsung, everything.
Everything's on
but
special.
You don't have Apple on special because they've controlled the supply so well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And property is the same thing. When you've got oversupply, you're going to get specials. And when you've got undersupply, you're going to pay full price. That's the way it is.
Absolutely.
So the fact of it is COVID has reduced the supply. And because of reduced supply, it's going to make it harder for people. That's the fact of it. And a lot of people are still sitting in the fence. And what they're doing is sitting in the fence waiting. But not only that, the banks are not making it easy.
Yeah.
The banks are actually making it very difficult for people. And
Making
people can't get loans.
Yeah.
Can't get loans.
Loons.
Can't get loans.
They're quite like loans.
Yes, yeah. But people can't
But they're
get
harder
loans.
because
That's
they've got to jump hurdles.
That's right.
So they're loons.
So you can't get loans at the moment. It's very difficult unless you've got a specialist team around you. So what does that mean? This is what it means. It means that at the moment, price is still subdued because you can't get loans very easily. Now, the banks can be fussy because there's so many people that want to buy.
Yep.
But once all the people that are have got put the effort in to get a loan with the way it's hard, then what's going to happen is then the banks are not going to have as many customers.
That's right.
And then what's going to happen is the people that couldn't get a loan, they're going to start being able to get a loan because the banks will make it easier.
Yes.
Because the banks, what they do is when everyone wants to get a loan, they make it hard. If no one wants a loan, they're going to make it easy because banks are there to lend money. That's the only way they make money. They don't make money any other way. That's what it is. So COVID's changed the property market because it's made loans harder. And because it's made loans harder, it's softened the property market down a little bit and flattened it out, which is a positive thing if you want to get into the market because the challenge is it's like Dutch skipping ropes. If you don't dive in, it's going to be very difficult.
You're going to get hit, but if you get in there and you do it the right way, boom, you're in there. You're in.
And the thing is, what happens is people that wait too long, and I've seen this happen over and over again. I've got friends that could have bought 2 or 3 properties 4 years ago. And now they can get zero. Properties.
Yeah.
And they can probably never, ever, ever, ever for the rest of their lives into the market. And imagine that. Imagine being able to get 1 or 2 properties or 3 properties. And then suddenly you can never get a property again for the rest of your life unless you win the lotto or you inherit some money off your parents.
Yeah.
That would really suck. That's why, people that are taking their time and saving up sometimes can get themselves in trouble. The point is always educate yourself. Always take your time and do it properly. But don't sit on the fence for the rest of your life. Because sitting on the fence is not a good place to be.
No, it's the worst place to be.
Yes. You're better off going one way or the other. If you're going to sit on the fence, you might as well just say property is not for me, leave property and do something else.
Yeah.
That's right. Buy property, then wait. Don't wait to buy property. Exactly. That's the old adage. And
like the buy and hold.
It is so true because the thing is, you're only making money out of property when you've got some. So if you don't have property, you can't make money out of property.
No.
Number 1. Number 2, property takes time. So while you're waiting to buy property, it's already going up. Now, remember, we're going to go back to the beginning, right? And I'm going to answer the question why ordinary Aussies are compelled to invest in property or watch savings dwindle. Now, this is the one thing, if you're not going to listen to anything else I say tonight, this is the one thing you need to really focus on. Okay. So there's a thing called inflation, right? And inflation is when governments print money. Now, what's been happening recently in America, in Europe, in Australia, everywhere? What have the governments been doing? They've been printing shit loads of money, right? So supply and demand. We've got more supply of money. So what does that do to the price of money? It lowers it down. That's right. Because money is like property. So if you have an oversupply of properties, it's going to reduce the price of properties. You got an oversupply of sneakers, Nike sneakers, it's going to go down. If they make too many iPhones, guess what's going to happen?
It's going to go down.
Yes. So this is the weird thing. Even money can have a supply and oversupply.
Yes.
Right. And what's happening at the moment, we've got an oversupply of money.
Yes.
Because money is super cheap. It's so cheap.
Yes.
So if you've got money in the bank, then your money is shrinking super fast. And that's a worry. So if I've got money, hi, Michael, how are you? Thank you for joining us. So if you've got money in the bank, seriously, I'd be panicking. I'd be thinking, shit, what do I do? I'd really get my shit together and worry about it, because the reason being is when they're printing all this money, your money is shrinking. So if you got $1 million in the bank today, in 12 months' time, that $1 million purchasing power is going to go down quite a bit, right? So your purchasing power's gone down.
Yes. And
that's the problem. Because let's say a house worth 500 now and it goes up 7%, that's $35,000.
Wow.
Right? So if I've got $500,000 in the bank account now,
yes,
in 12 months' time, I've lost 35 grand.
That's shocking.
At least, if not more.
People just don't get that concept.
Yes.
They really don't.
Exactly.
I mean, I've spoken to people that I bump, that have had so much money sitting in a bank account, but it's doing absolutely nothing for them.
What are you getting in bank? 1%, 2%?
Whereas you can invest it in property, and
we're getting, some of our members are getting 35 to 70% return on their properties, right? This is per year, this might sound massive to you, might sound huge, but that's the fact of it.
Yes.
I mean, we've got people buying properties costing them nothing. They're making a profit from day one, and they're making 30%, 35%, 7%, whatever.
And
doesn't matter.
And the great thing is and then they're leveraging off that later on down the track.
Yes, exactly.
You can't leverage on money that's sitting in a bank account.
And I mean,
you can't do anything with it. It just sits there.
I recently had a member that reached out to me. He joined our program 4 years ago, right? And he hasn't bought any investment properties yet. He's like, George, I'm thinking about starting again. Lovely guy. But he's been trigger shy. Every time he's about to go, he starts overthinking and go, oh my God, is it the right property? Is it perfect? His wife talks to his wife, goes, oh, maybe no. And then he stops, right? And what's been happening though, is he's had all this money in cash, right? So he's got you don't know his name, so I can talk about his situation. He's got $350,000 cash in his bank account, which he's had here for 4 years.
Wow.
Now, that's shrunk.
Yes.
Because the properties that he could have bought for $350 they're worth about $500 now.
Yes.
Right? So it shrunk, but also because with property you can multiply things.
Yep.
With $350,000, you can probably, let's say, potentially buy 3 to 4 properties, maybe 5 at a push over 4 years.
Yep.
5 properties. Properties double every 7 to 10 years. So over 5 years, let's say they've only gone up 20%. Right?
What's that? Do the maths.
Right. Do the maths. 20%. So 400,000 times 0.2, 80,000 times 4. That's 320,000. Right. And we haven't even doubled the property yet. Because once they double, that's where you make your real money. Because what happens is if you buy a $400,000 property, you don't have to pay it off. And that's what people get wrong, right? A lot of people, what they do is they buy a property, then they don't go out for dinner and they don't go do anything. My parents did this.
Yeah.
They just work overtime and keep trying to pay off the thing. But the thing is, you can't beat inflation.
No.
So what I do is I buy a property and I let inflation do all the work. Actually, I let the property, the taxman, the tenant, everything, the property manager, the bank, everything, all that, everyone doing all the work for me. And I just sit back and let it do its thing. Because let's say if you buy a property worth $500,000 and it doubles in 10 years and you make $500,000.
Yes.
Now, whatever job you're doing out there, calculate how much money you save per week. How long would it take you to save $500,000? I bet you it's going to be a lot harder than me making money out of property.
Yep.
I mean, last year I made $1 million just in 1 year out of property. I'm not saying that to impress you. I want to impress upon you the power of compounding interest.
Correct.
Einstein said it was the 7th wonder of the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Exactly. And how do you overcome analysis paralysis? Very good question. Great question. Okay, so look, this is where people get caught up. And the reason being is most people find investing in property difficult because they don't understand the fundamentals, right? Once you understand the fundamentals, it's actually very simple. So analysis paralysis happens for one main reason: lack of confidence, but also lack of education and not knowing the basic facts on how to do it and what to do, right? So the number one way to do it right? So the number one way to do it is to really invest in yourself. And the way to invest, I really think the number one investment you can make is yourself anyway, right?
Always.
So I really think what you need to do is invest in yourself and learn how to do it. Because what most people lack these days is the modern day financial education, right? And see, the rich do it one way, the poor do it the other way, right? And the fact of it is, act like a rich person, not a poor person, because that's the way you're going to do it. You're not going to become rich by doing things that poor people do. You're going to become rich by doing what rich people do. So I've never seen anyone who has become wealthy do it just by chance or not doing the right principles about learning how to do it and what to do. So what I suggest you do is invest in yourself. That's the number one thing. And once you invest in yourself, then you can do what you need to do. And seriously, what I would do if I was you, if you haven't done this yet, is on the 18th of January, we're doing a 14-day challenge.
Woohoo!
And Christina, if you don't mind posting the link, well, actually, if you just type in the word challenge in the comments, guys, right? So just like this, challenge. And then what I'll do is I'll send you the details on the challenge. And I'm going to be personally running this challenge for 14 days. And it's called the $1 Million Game Plan Challenge, the Freedom Through Property Challenge. And basically what it's going to do is help you create a $1 million game plan and really get on top of your game. It's going to be very exciting.
It's really going to develop you to the next level. You know, if anyone out there that's interested in investing, to do that challenge is the first.
Yeah,
before you
don't invest in anything. Don't even invest in anything.
Don't go there.
Just do the challenge.
Do your research.
Do the research.
Understand it first.
Oh, Michael's already signed up. Well done, Michael.
Yay.
I'll see you the 18th, mate. Very good.
Good on you.
So look, and basically also another thing you can do is join us Wednesday nights and ask questions.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions, just type them in. Say, hey, how you doing? This is my question, and we'll answer them for you because I'm giving free advice every Wednesday on this sort of stuff. But during the challenge, I'm giving in a lot more value because there's so much more there, and you're going to really learn everything you need to learn, which is very important. Yeah. And that's the way to do it. But we're doing a 14-day challenge on the 18th of January. We've had our graduation from last year of our challenge, and
it's great.
They've done very, very well.
I can tell you the graduates that are coming out, they're actually saying that they thought they knew the industry, they thought they knew the property market, but they've just been given the real source of exactly the information they need.
Yeah,
and it's blown their mind.
And what I do during the challenge is I actually start you off little step at a time. So you start off nice and easy, little 20-minute assignment, little mission, then 30-minute mission. They go up to an hour mission, and then you get a little mission each day, and you complete the mission. And if you have any problems or challenges with the mission, I actually in a private Facebook group go through it and help you go through it,
which is great
because I want to make sure that every single person actually completes the challenge, does well.
Yep.
Right. And we do 100% money back guarantee on the challenge because that's how confident I am with it, you know.
Look, absolutely. I mean, I did a real estate course and got my real estate license, and it was boring. It didn't really, you know.
When it comes to
those TAFE and
when it comes to knowing property, real estate agents don't know much about
property.
They know how to sell property.
Yeah, correct.
That's about it. They don't know how to buy because you know what? You make your money when you buy, not when you sell.
Yeah.
That's the key in learning how to buy. What to buy, when to buy is the most important thing.
Absolutely. And it's so we've had so much great feedback from those last graduates.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been personally dealing with a few of them after the challenge because now they know the questions they really need to ask.
Exactly. Because until you do the challenge, you may not even know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
No. Yeah.
Right?
That's
so
it.
There's the
How do you know if you don't know?
Well, like that guy in America who said there's the known knowns right? There's
Yes.
what we know what we know.
Know what we know.
And then there's things we know what we don't know.
Know what we don't know.
Yes, we know some things we don't know.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
But then there's the things we don't know that we don't know.
Don't know.
Now, that's the one, that's the hard part.
Yes.
If you don't know what you don't know, right? And you don't know what you don't know, that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it's all about. So, guys, if anyone's got any last questions before we finish tonight, please let me know.
This is your chance.
We'll be going half an hour, and this is a half an hour of power.
Half an hour of power pants.
Now, guys, make sure that you put it in your diary that every Wednesday you come alive. But what I suggest you do is actually get a list of questions that you need. That was going to make it even better for you.
Absolutely. And look, if you're really passionate about property, you should have your little notebook next to your bed.
And look,
and when you come up with these great questions, write them down.
You don't need to be passionate about property, right? All you need to be passionate is financial freedom.
Okay. Yes,
right?
of course. Because property is our vehicle.
Yeah. I'm not, look, like, I love property. Since I was a little kid, since I was 7, I played Monopoly. I loved it. When I heard you could play it in real life, I was like, yes, I can't believe it.
Bring it on.
And see, I watched my parents struggle to make ends meet.
Yes.
Right? Michael just wrote, this is very nice. So I already signed up. So I just signed up 3
days ago
before starting the course. I've already learned a couple of tips and tricks. Money well invested. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and when I found out that you could play Monopoly in real life, I was excited by that. And watching my parents struggle to make ends meet, I knew from a young age it was up to me. You know what I mean? And I knew I was never going to inherit a fortune.
Absolutely.
Or anything like that.
I mean,
and you know what? That makes you a bit tougher sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Well, look, your parents are lovely, but they came straight from a village, to Australia.
Yeah.
So they don't have that background. You've had to learn it all yourself.
Exactly. And the thing is, and I did, and I made a lot of mistakes on the way through. And what happened was I didn't just be born a good property investor. A lot of people go, George, your parents must be so good at business or property.
They're loaded.
No. Look, my father drove taxis. My mum was at home, right?
Yes.
And they weren't loaded at all. And I didn't learn any business or property off them. But I knew from a young age property was to be for me. And what happened was I made a lot of mistakes. And in the end, I grew up in the era back in the 90s when I was investing in property, where you're negative years. You buy a property, minus 300, buy another property, minus 200. So I was negative gearing and working.
Like 8 days a week.
Yeah.
Because if you include the nights.
Right? And the thing is, it wasn't working for me, right? And I had 2 choices. I had 2 doors. One was to quit property.
Yep.
The other door was to really work property up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And guess which one I chose, guys? Yes.
Well, he's here right now.
Yeah, exactly. So I chose to work property out. And the reason being was quitting wasn't an option for me.
Yes.
Because if you quit, you're guaranteed to lose, aren't you?
Oh, you guarantee nothing.
Well,
really.
you're guaranteed to lose if you quit.
Of course.
You can't win quitting, right? So anyway, so I decided, and that's when I made the $1 million decision. And number one, it was actually 3 decisions. The first decision was to really work property out, right? And work this stuff out so I knew, make it work for me, not me work for it. And number 2, I decided to ignore everyone else out there giving property advice. There's so many people out there talking about all these fancy schemes and things like that, but they didn't walk the walk.
No.
They weren't property investors themselves, but they're trying to teach me how to invest in property. And the third thing I did is find investors, people that actually knew what they're doing and actually had results.
Yeah.
And I went on a journey and I went around the world looking for people like that.
Yep.
Mainly Australia, but there was some people. There was one guy I went to Florida who made his money out of property, and I went and visit him. And he's the one that broke the 4 minute mile. So I thought, if this guy can do it, why can't I do it?
Correct.
This guy was younger than me, living in Miami, making money out of Australian real estate.
Yeah.
He was from Melbourne and just cruising around, having a ball. Great guy, having a great life. And I was thinking, if he can do it, I can do it.
Of course.
I was thinking, if he can make $100,000 passive income, why can't I make 50?
I know, absolutely.
Right? Because I would have been happy with 50, but I ended up making 180.
High five.
Yeah, excellent.
Well done.
And look, and when I started making 180 grand a year passive without getting out of bed, that's when I quit work, quit my businesses because
your properties were churning for you.
And the thing is, once you create passive income, because a lot of people go, George, if you're so rich, why do you work? And I'll explain it.
You don't really work though.
Well, this is what I'm doing right now.
This is
part of my
this
work.
is part of his work.
Yes, and
Empowering other people
and if you call
to
this
get ahead
work-
with property.
Exactly. If you call this
Is
work,
that work?
no, it's not.
I've done a few 9-to-5 jobs in my life, and I can tell you straight out, this is not work.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I really love what I do. I really enjoy it because our unstoppable dream, our unstoppable mission is to empower 10,000 Australians to create financial freedom through investing in property
10,000.
using the Mikoski method. You know what I mean? Because what I've done is I've codified it. I've made it simple, step by step, and it works.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
the thing is, how do I know it's worked? We've got over 2,000 members Australia-wide who are extremely successful and extremely grateful.
And they're doing,
We've done this,
yeah, absolutely.
Right? And that's the fact of it.
We've got an awesome community. It's fantastic.
Going back to this guy that I just spoke to recently.
Yeah.
He had 350,000.
350 in the bank.
Didn't invest in
Didn't do
property,
anything.
right?
Go back to this guy.
Yep. And now, so
I think I know who you're talking about.
yeah. But anyway, so another member, Christina's auntie, she joined about 3 years ago after him.
Yes.
Makes a third of the
Single.
money
What is it? Single mum?
with 2 kids.
2 kids.
And when she
Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen.
she makes less than 50 grand a year.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, but she is got a lot of tenacity, very strong will. She's got a big heart, and she
Yeah.
just listened. She's paid off her mortgage completely and utterly in 3 years. She's got invested property's gone up 80
That's
grand.
fantastic.
positive.
I love hearing those
But you know
success
what?
stories.
The beautiful part about it is I love it when really good people do well.
Yeah.
I love it. And people that deserve it. Because
Especially, yeah.
we've got a no dickheads policy.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Excuse for the language, but it's true. So I actually won't let someone who is a dick to join our program anyway,
No.
because I don't want to help people that are dicks.
And they're not appreciative.
Yeah, exactly.
And they
So-
haven't got the right attitude.
No,
so
right.
really, go find another property group.
Exactly, because
Absolutely.
I don't need the money. I don't care.
No.
And I want to help people that want to be helped. And I'm going to create 10,000 property millionaires. They're going to be all cool people, really good people that we can party with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
That's what we want to do.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's going to be a lot more fun. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. And look, we're going to come here every Wednesday. We're going to come live. If you're listening to the podcast, come to our group, Positive Property Club.
Absolutely.
If you're
Come
in
on
the group,
down.
if you're in the group, join our podcast. So that way
Yeah.
you can got little George talking in your ear while you're driving. You're driving to work, you got me to motivating you to do property. Why not? It's good fun, right? So guys,
Absolutely.
great having a chat to you. Enjoy your Wednesday night and look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night. Thank you so much for everything. Cheers. Bye.
Ciao, guys.
Thank you for listening. I'm grateful for all our listeners around the world. If you found this podcast valuable, please share with someone that might find this useful, and please join our tribe of purpose-driven investors, increasing income and impact in our Facebook group, Positive Property. Please note, with a multi-million-dollar property portfolio and a passive income, I've become incredibly successful in investing in property. The fact of it is, however, many people may find investing in property challenging. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of hard work. However, becoming educated to make an informed decision and having the right advisors gives you the tools you need to succeed. The most important part of this formula, however, is to actually take action and apply that knowledge. It is important to understand the information I share is of a general nature only and is not taking into account your unique circumstances. If you're considering investing in any asset class, you need to seek the advice of an independent professional advisor who will be able to look at your specific situation. Be sure your advisor has actually achieved the kind of results you're seeking. Many won't have, so beware. We've taken great care putting those educational resources together. We'd be surprised if you didn't find any errors or omissions. If you do, our legal team says we have to say we're not responsible for those. In fact, as with all things, even your success, we're not responsible. That responsibility always has and always will come down to you and the actions you take. We're passionate about supporting you in that process and helping you increase your ability to create wealth, live the life you desire, and provide all the things you dream of for you and your family.